Previously on Saving the T5. This is my dad.
And I'm not dead, but this van actually got hit by a tractor.
Let's recap week 2.
Right, so the last time we worked on this van, you'll remember that we did these panels and we got these in and the boot struts to hold the boot of the bike rack up. Well, this episode, we are going to be working on fixing this blind. And now, the problem with this blind is, when you take it off, it's supposed to retract, but it doesn't. The retracting mechanism is completely dead. And so to counteract that and fix it, we've got this from Volkswagen themselves, one of the last ones that was left new in the country, and it is obviously our new blind. So without further ado, let's start fitting this and fix yet another problem with this VW T5.
Okay, so this job is a relatively simple one. However, you do need to be really careful because this door card, like many of the panels on this van, is very flimsy. So my dad's being very careful here not to try and snap anything, and he's just using a trim tool to remove each of the clips that hold this panel together. He's going in and out of the van, and this is just so he can catch every single angle and ensure that he's not putting any unnecessary stress on any part of the panel. This did take a while because it was a very fiddly job, because the sliding door does make things more complicated than your regular door card, because the door, rather than coming out, it just slides along, so you don't have much space to work with. As you can see, the old blind is completely ruined. It isn't going to be working anymore, and it's starting to get caught, and so in the end we did end up just literally ripping it off because it wouldn't do anything anymore, as you can see here. That just goes to show how poorly made that last one was and how much damage it's had over time. My dad here is just removing the trim around the top of the door card to access the top clips that hold the panel onto the metal bodywork and stop it from basically anything from going down inside the door card and rotting it from the inside out. Here we go, my dad's finally started to get it away, and that is very good. I'll come in there to help, just try and loosen off that side where it's a little bit too fiddly to have one person working on it. This job did take us about 30 minutes to get off, but it was much quicker when we put it back on, and this is the same thing that everybody has said who's worked on these T5s before, that these door cards are an absolute pain to work with. But eventually it's out and my dad can take it away so we can fit the new blind. Here I am fitting the new blind. I've just got to remove all of the old screws using my Milwaukee screwdriver, which I bought specifically for this job, and I can just take out the last two, and it's pretty easy removal. I then just lined up to make sure it was the same way around as the old one with the new one, and then started to re-put those screws back in one at a time, trying to not put too much stress on one side of the blind so I didn't bend it or break it, so putting even screws in from each side, and then it's just putting the supporting screws in, and there we are, done.
Okay, so that is obviously our new blind put in and done. It was literally, I think it was, 6 T20 bolts. Took the old one out, the original one, which is obviously, as you can see, broken. It's got no blind in it. We've got a fresh one. It is like that. So it was brand new. Got it from a parts place. There was only about 4 left in the entire country, but managed to get in. It had the original VW receipts and everything still attached to it, and it had never been used, so yeah, completely fresh. Let's go get it back on the van. So one last thing is the door card did get slightly cracked down there, but it's tiny and you can hardly see it. It's in the door sill anyway, so it doesn't really matter for now. If in the future we need to do anything, we could just, glue it back in, but for now it doesn't really matter. So yeah, now that's enough talking, let's actually get it back on the van. Okay, so here we go with the reinstall of the OEM door card with the new and upgraded blind. Now all I'm doing here is installing some new trim clips, because a lot of them were like one-time use and they sort of exploded or popped out, so we need new ones that will reset and working. So here we go, here's my dad now starting to install it. We decided to shut the door to try and see if that would help, however it wasn't gonna give us any extra benefit, so we opened the door, and this was a very
Very simple job. It was just line it up and then just punch the heck out of the panel until it fit. Now we had a little bit of a few teething issues where things were not slightly lining up, and again the sliding door was like would close on you, so it was a little bit difficult, but eventually we managed to get it in. My dad just punched it away, and that turned out to be one great success. The last piece to install was just the trim, and for the top of the door card, this just has to slot over the blind, which was a little bit difficult. It had to bend a little bit, and it did cause a little bit of an issue where the trim became slightly disfigured, but it's not a problem. What we need to do is sort this door out because it's been sort of stopping, it's not been sliding properly, and then just the other day one of the little jockey wheels in there came off, so sliding it isn't, well, it doesn't work anymore. So we're going to hopefully be able to replace those with a fresh bottom one and a fresh top one, and hopefully get this door sliding brilliantly once again, so we can get everything in and you can still use the door, because otherwise it's a bit non-functional and it just kind of ruins part of the van. So we're going to try and get that sorted out. Could take a while, so sit tight and enjoy the show. Yeah, about that. Alright, so the door turned out to be a complete failure. There's some screws up here, as you can see, that just will not come out at all. So we're going to take it off to the mechanic when it goes in for an MOT next week to sort that out and get the door runners or rollers resorted. But don't worry, there is more stuff to do, and it does still involve the back of the van in here. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be fitting the table that we've got down here, and we've got two chairs, the captain chairs that spin round, the cool ones that the T5 and all those Caravelles were known for, and we're going to be fitting them back in. So we've already hoovered this space back out to get it as clean as possible, taken the first caps out to put the new old seat back in, sort the seat out, and then we've got to repeat it for here and for the table in the middle, and then it will look like a proper people carrier once again rather than a work van. And then that's pretty much the back apart from that pillar done, and then we can work on the front, which includes stuff like the screen, etc. Alright, let's do this. Okay, so this is an extremely simple process. All we have to do is align the little guide points on the seat with the rails, slot it in, slide it back, and I'm just going to go in and hoover out any glass or leftover debris that's sitting under that carpet where we've removed those little caps on the rails, and that will basically just mean everything stays clean and under control, where these seats can go back in and we can make this van absolutely perfect. I've been evading this for at least a decade and it's finally caught up to me. I've got to clean up my mess from all those years ago when these seats were last in there and I spilt chocolate. And I now have to clean it after a decade of managing to successfully escape. And yeah. Like that. And then that goes like that. That's the booster. That just goes to show how long I've been evading it. Well, that's how big I was last time. Don't think I fit in that anymore, but you know. Yeah, finally time to clean up my own mess. Okay, so after cleaning everything, and I mean cleaning everything, down to the seat belts where they were jammed because there was stuff in them, I finally managed to get it to an acceptable standard, and now it's time to actually install the seat back into the van, and this will put the second chair in and make it back into a 7-seater from a 5-seater. Now these are the captain chairs, and when they're spun round they make it look a bit like a conference room, so it is quite executive and quite cool. As you can see, my dad here is having a bit of a time trying to get it back in because they are very heavy, because they've obviously got the swivel base, and his back is not happy that he's doing this. But eventually you manage to get it in, and then it's just about lining it up with the rails, and once it's aligned with the rails it's in, and then we can push it all the way back so we can install the table, and then once the table's in we can start organising where we want our seats. Okay, so now that the seats are in, it's time to get that table into the centre for everyone in the back to use, which will finally complete the conference room sort of setup in terms of the pieces. Now as you can see, this table has got some tape on it, and that's because the little covers on the top have started to come off, but we're going to sort that out in a future episode. Now we're just trying to align it here because for some reason it will not slot into the rails, but we don't mind because these things are very expensive and we want to get it right and we want to get it perfect. But eventually we managed to line it up into the rail, and my dad is able to slide it back. Alright, so as you can see now,
we have done everything in the back of the van, and it's back into this conference room setup. We've made the adjustments with the seats, moved them back, put the table in. And if we just sit in here, as you can see, I'm currently sat in the bench seat at the back, which was folded down in the last clip you would have seen. But as you can see, it's nice and spacious. We took the two pieces of the tape pieces and we decided we'd leave them like that because it actually looks quite nice without them on it. So we left the middle one and then taken the two on the outside, which we just thought sort of made it a bit unique, a bit more classy, I suppose. Sort of matches the theme in here of black into the sort of grey, light grey colour. Now, if we move over to the other seats, which these are the captain chairs, where you sit backwards in the van, and as you can see, here is quite a nice situation. We've got this lovely table, and the reason it's nice, you've got obviously your cup holders. Let's just go back in, but we can press this swivel button, and what I'll do is I'll set you up on the chair opposite, so it's a bit like the conference room as you would be. So if you were imagining if you were sat opposite me in the van, guys, if you were sat opposite me in the van, what I can do is I can grab my table, undo the release lock, and then all I've got to do is unlock it, bring it across, and now what I have here is my very own personal table. I can stick my phone on it, stick your phone on it, stick your laptop on it, do some work. It's a table, you could eat off of it, but it's like a conference room in here. So I can sit talking to my three mates or colleagues there, and I can have my mate here, and I'm sort of sat here. It's quite cool. And obviously we did the blind in this video as well, and the blind now works. It's fully attached and it retracts perfectly. We made some minor adjustments, but all in all, that's the back of this van done, and it is looking very, very nice, and it's sort of back to how it was in 2007, or as good as we can get it. I love these new soft touch plastics because they're like a proper arm holder, but they do feel really nice, a bit like a sort of a leatherette as well, actually. But we might do some future upgrades again to the back, add some seat covers or something. Not in this series, maybe in a future video down the line some point. But all in all, it's very nice in here. I'm going to do a full review when the van's completely done in a few weeks' time. But it'll be a bit like we did with the Polo, the Mercedes, and the Freelander and the Duster, where we did a tour, and I'll give you a full in-depth thing. But we're still waiting for this panel. But we've actually got the panel in. We're going to fit it at some point, probably one of the future episodes, and that'll be good. But yeah, all in all, we've made a great success here. We've still got carpet covers on, but we're going to keep it on. But all in all in here, it is looking much, much better. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching today's video. Hope you all did enjoy. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe. You know the rest. Everyone tells you millions and millions of times. I am sure. And yeah, see you in the next one.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.